Imagine being just 16 years old, accused of stealing a backpack, and then spending 3 years in one of the most dangerous jails in America without ever being convicted. This is the tragic story of Kalief Browder. In 2010, Kalief Browder was just 16 years old when his life changed forever. He was walking home from a party in the Bronx when police stopped him. A man had reported his backpack stolen weeks earlier, and Kalief supposedly matched the description. Without any solid evidence, Kalief was arrested and charged with robbery. His bail was set at $3,000, a sum his family simply couldn't afford. Because they couldn't pay, Kalief was sent to Rikers Island, one of the most dangerous jails in America. He wasn't convicted. He wasn't even tried. He was simply waiting, yet he would spend the next 3 years behind bars. Rikers Island is notorious as one of the harshest jails in America. For Kalief Browder, it became a nightmare that lasted 3 long years. Violence everywhere. He was beaten repeatedly by guardsmen to protect him and by inmates who preyed on the weak. Every day was a battle to survive. 700-plus days in solitary. Kalief spent more than 700 days locked inside a small cell, alone, 23 hours a day. Solitary confinement broke many grown men. For a teenager, it was unbearable. Psychological toll. The endless isolation drove him into deep depression. He struggled with paranoia, hopelessness, and thoughts of suicide, yet he still refused to admit guilt. Plea deal pressure. Prosecutors offered him deals. Plead guilty and you can go home. But Kalief refused. He wouldn't lie about committing a crime he didn't do, even if it meant more time inside. For 3 years, Kalief endured abuse, isolation, and unimaginable suffering, all without ever being convicted of crime. After 3 years of waiting, Kalief's day in court never truly came. In 2013, prosecutors admitted they had no real evidence. The key witness against him had disappeared. With their case collapsing, all charges against Kalief Browder were finally dismissed. At just 20 years old, Kalief walked out of Rikers Island a free man. But freedom didn't erase the trauma. He had lost his teenage years. Years he could never get back. Kalief was finally free in 2013, but life outside the prison walls was far from easy. Struggles with trauma. Years in solitary left deep scars. Kalief battled depression, paranoia, and nightmares. He often felt like he was still locked inside a cell, trying to rebuild. He returned to school, determined to catch up on the education stolen from him. He wanted to work, to live, to be normal again. But the world had moved on while he was trapped inside Rikers. Public voice. Despite his pain, Kalief began to speak out about his experience. He became a powerful voice against the injustice of cash bail and pretrial detention, courageously sharing his story to stop others from suffering like he did. But the weight of 3 stolen years never left him. Freedom gave him a chance to live, but not to heal. Kalief tried to move forward, but the trauma of Rikers never let him go. He struggled with severe depression and paranoia. The years of solitary confinement haunted him. He felt trapped even outside prison walls. On June 6, 2015, at just 22 years old, Kalief Browder took his own life. His death shook the nation. It was more than a loss of a young man. It was proof of how deeply a broken system can destroy lives. Kalief's story became a rallying cry, forcing America to confront the cruelty of cash bail, wrongful detention, and solitary confinement. Though he is gone, his voice still echoes in every fight for justice. Though Kalief Browder's life was cut short, his story sparked change far beyond what he could have imagined. National spotlight. His story went viral online, appearing in documentaries, news reports, and social media campaigns. Millions of people demanded answers. Presidential attention. Even President Barack Obama cited Kalief's case, while calling for limits on solitary confinement for juveniles. His tragedy became an example of why reform was urgently needed. Documentary and advocacy. Jay-Z produced a 6-part documentary Time, the Kalief Browder story, which brought his voice to a global audience and pushed the issue of bail reform into mainstream conversation. Impact on justice reform. His story fueled campaigns to end cash bail, reform pretrial detention, and restrict solitary confinement. Laws have since been challenged and changed, inspired by the injustice he endured. Kalief Browder didn't live to see the change, but his name has become a symbol of resistance, a reminder that one story can shake an entire system. Kalief Browder never got the justice he deserved, but his story changed America's conversation on prisons forever. If you believe stories like his must be told, help us share them. Subscribe for more